Hey guys, Ryan Soda here, back again to another movie review, and today we will be reviewing Scream 4. Now, Scream 4 is the last movie directed by Wes Craven, or the last Scream movie directed by Wes Craven. And I actually don't own this movie, actually, because if you guys notice, I always pull out a Scream Blu-ray or something like that. I don't own the Blu-ray for this movie. Not even the DVD either, but I think we did own it like way back when it first came out, but I have no idea what on earth happened to that, but I do know I did own it at one point, but I don't know what happened though. So yeah, but I did manage to rewatch this movie like through rental though. So yeah, I rewatched it recently, and here are my thoughts about it. Now, this movie is good, but it's definitely the weakest of the Scream movies in my opinion. Like, it's definitely the worst for me because it's the one I enjoy the least, and it's the one that I think not much is happening in it. And it's, yeah, I don't know. It's just not the one that I like to come back to a lot either. So, yeah, this one is definitely the worst of the Scream movies, but that's not a bad thing at all because I still think this movie is pretty good actually. Like, pretty solid. Great kills, great premise, great story too, and yeah, and it even captures the horror comedy vibe that the first three did very well. Like, it captures that yet again very well again. Yeah, so yeah, this movie had some pretty cool moments and some cool characters, but there were a little bit of characters that I thought were kind of like bad, but I'll get to them though. So first off, let's start off with the character of Sydney, which I thought Sydney in this movie definitely was like didn't really do much in this movie, and she wasn't even that interesting of a character. Yeah, because right after Scream 2, like, Sydney becomes very uninteresting, and this is the movie where we get to see her uninteresting, and she gets more and more uninteresting as the series goes along. So, yeah, I was not interested in Sydney at all in this movie, and you could have done this movie without Sydney too, and what else? Sydney, she aged pretty badly too. Like, the actress aged kind of badly. Not gonna lie, she was kind of cute in the first three, but here she kind of ages kind of badly. And yeah, Sydney, she's not the most interesting character. She's not even that cool anymore. Like, there's not even much cool moments from her. But the only thing that's cool from her, she still has a huge heart, and she still cares about everyone around her. She still cares about Dewey and Gail and her aunt, and she even cares a lot for her little niece Jill. She cares for everybody. She doesn't want anything bad to happen to them, and she really wants to take down the killer. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool from Sydney, but everything else was just so flat out boring. Um, Anything else I should say about Sydney? I think that should be it about Sydney, but she was definitely one of the weaker points of the movie. Oh yeah, and another flaw I have with this movie is that I don't like the way this movie looks. This movie looks kind of odd. Like, it looks very weird, and the saturation just looks so weird. Like, this movie looks like a mid 2000s movie rather than an early 2010s movie. Cause yeah, I just don't like the way it looks. It looks a little blurry, and yeah, I did not dig the look of this movie at all. Anything else I should say? But at least it looks bearable though, because I've seen like one movie that had a really bad saturation that did not look bearable at all. But that movie is actually in my Halloween special, but I'll talk about that once I get to that movie. Anything else I should say about this movie? Okay, now we get on to the next character, Dewey, which I thought Dewey was pretty cool in this movie, how he was the sheriff of Woodsboro now, and he knew what to do since he already solved this case 3 times with the Ghostface case. So he knows exactly what to do, especially since he's sheriff. So he has all the cops, like, he controls all the cops, and he like makes them like go to this place or this place to protect this certain person. So yeah, and he knows what to do, and the fact that he owns the cops, it was really cool too. And I liked his whole friendship with Deputy Judy, and then he yet again like starts off with a lot of like trouble with his relationship with Gail, like, yet again with every fucking movie in the series. So yeah, like, cause like Gail like thinks that he's cheating on her for Deputy Judy, and he thinks he likes her more, and yeah, which that was kind of a little bit of a weird love triangle. Not gonna lie, cause Gail literally just took it to the next level, cause that's literally just his deputy. So yeah. Anything else I should say about Dewey? And yeah, he's still very passionate to solve the case, and he really wants to protect Gail too. He still really cares for Gail, even though he doesn't show it much. He still really cares for her. So yeah, I enjoyed those aspects of Dewey. Excuse me. Yeah, and Dewey was yet again really cool. And then we get on to Gail, which I thought Gail was pretty cool in this movie, but I thought this was the movie where she was definitely the most bitchy, because she is incredibly bitchy in this movie. She does not give a shit for anybody. She's always harassing Dewey. She hates Judy a lot. Like, she really like harasses Judy a lot, and she even treats the kids so badly. So yeah, she's such a bitch in this movie, and that makes her funny too. Cause I think she was really funny with all those scenes. Like this one scene where she tells Deputy Judy, "Your lemon squares taste like ass." Yeah, and what else? So yeah, she was very funny in this movie, and that's what made her cool. Was she was still yet again funny, and she wasn't reporter anymore. She was a writer now, trying to write fiction, but she didn't even know how to write fiction. She was only good at writing real events, but she had no idea how to write that like fiction now. And there was even a really funny scene where she's like, "I have no fucking idea what to write," and that's definitely what I do all the time too when I'm writing like my little movie scripts. I'm like, I have no fucking idea what to write, or I just write fuck 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 fuck. Yeah. What else about Gail? So yeah, she's still really passionate to take down this case, and she really wants to work with her husband with it, but her husband like kind of shoos her away too, which I thought that was kind of weird. How her husband keeps shooing her away even though they solved the case 3 times. So yeah, that was weird. But she was cool, and the fact that she even like knew what the killer's plan was gonna be, and she even sneaks into like this little stabathon that the kids were hosting, like the high school kids, and she finds out what the killer is doing, and the killer is recording the movie himself. Like, he's recording the kills and he's publishing it on the dark web, which I thought that was pretty cool actually. That was a pretty cool plan, and pretty cool how Gail found that out too. And yeah, Gail was still cool. And then we get on to the new characters of the movie, because like those 3 were the only like old characters that returned. So we start off with Jill, which I don't want to talk too much about Jill right now. Oh yeah, totally forgot to mention, if you haven't seen this movie, leave this review, because I will get into a lot of major spoilers in this review. So please leave this review if you haven't yet seen this movie, but I'm sure some of you have already. Anything else I should say? But Jill, she was cool. So at first she seemed like she had a heart, and at first it seemed like she really cared about her friends, and she was trying really hard not to die. She was running away from the killer, and at first she seemed sympathetic, but she's really not that at all. Anything else I should say about Jill in this movie? And she even has this whole like weird love, I mean, not really love thing. It's like a weird, like creepy thing that her ex boyfriend tries to get back with her, but her ex boyfriend cheated on her with this other girl. Like, he broke up with her for this other girl who dies in the beginning, which I forgot her name. I think her name was Allison or something like that. But yeah, I think it'll come back to me. But I that whole point with what was I gonna say? That whole subplot with Trevor and Jill, like Trevor trying to get back with her, I thought that subplot was kind of creepy, and Trevor was a huge creep. He was so weird. I did not like Trevor at all. Definitely my least favorite character of the movie. He was so annoying, and every time he appeared on screen, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And I loved how everyone else kept treating Trevor like shit too, because that's literally what I wanted to do to Trevor too. So yeah, I thought that was funny how everyone kept treating him like shit too. And even there's this one part where Kirby was like, "Who invited you, Trevor? Get out of my house." Yeah, very funny moments like that. But yeah, enough about Trevor. He's a fucking weirdo. So yeah, but Jill, she really shines more towards the end, but I'll get to that once I start talking about the ending. But I thought Jill was cool in this movie. And then we get on to Kirby, which I thought Kirby was definitely the funniest character of the movie. She had a lot of funny moments in the movie. She was mostly there for comic relief. She was Jill's best friend. She was so caring about Jill and so caring about all her friends, and she wanted nothing bad to happen to them. And she really didn't want to get taken down by the killer. And then I loved her whole little like love relationship with Charlie, how Charlie like had a crush on Kirby, and Kirby was slowly falling in love with him too, which I thought that was really cute. And anything else about Kirby? And Kirby was kind of cute too. Not gonna lie. I think that should be it about Kirby. But Kirby was cool though. And then we get on to Charlie in this movie, which Charlie. At first, he seems like a background character who's like a movie nerd. Like, there were 2 movie nerds in this movie that basically resembled Randy, especially the other one with like the headphone on his his ears or whatever, like the little like camera he had, like, and he was even hosting a show too. I thought he was cool. He definitely resembled Randy, I'm not gonna lie. And he was cool too, how he kept referencing like Stab One, what's your favorite scary movie, and people kept telling him to shut up. I thought those scenes were pretty funny. Anything else I should say about him? And he even had a little crush on Olivia too, which I thought was cute. I mean, it wasn't really implied in the movie, but it was only implied by one line. But I thought that I would have really been interested to see how that would have played off, but that didn't happen. Um, Anything else I should say? Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about Charlie until I talk about the end of the movie. But there's another character in the movie too named Olivia, which I enjoyed Olivia a lot. I thought Olivia was cool. We didn't really see much of her, but I thought she was kind of cute too. And I thought she definitely gave us like the most graphic and like dark and brutal death of the movie. And that death being like the killer goes into her room and starts stabbing her so many times, and then once they see her dead body, like her corpse, her whole room is filled with so much blood and her guts are all out. Very disturbing scene. Yeah, definitely the best scene of the movie. Anything else I should say about any other characters? Oh yeah, and then there's Deputy Judy in the movie, which I thought Deputy Judy was pretty cool too. How she cared about Dewey, but not in that way. Like she cared about him a lot as a friend, and she was passionate on solving the case too. Anything else about Deputy Judy? And yeah, she was cool. I thought she was fine, and she was always like trying to be very helpful too. Um, any other characters in this movie? I think that's all the characters in this movie, but the characters were pretty solid in this movie. And now let's talk about the kills in this movie, which I thought this movie had some cool kills. Like I really enjoyed the opening of this movie. I thought that opening was really funny too. How we get two false movies, one with Trudy and her friend where they get killed by the killer, and then it turns out to be Stab Six, and then we get the other false opening with these two friends, and then she stabs her friend, which I thought that was pretty funny. How she stabs her because she's like, "You talk too much. Now shut the fuck up and watch the movie." Yeah, I thought that thing was really funny, and it was another false opening. Stab Seven, hilarious. Yeah, but I enjoyed the real opening with with these two girls dying, and then one of them dies off screen after like the other friend pulls a prank on her that she's doing the Ghostface voice. And I like this new line that of Ghostface: "This is the last person you're ever gonna see alive." And what else? And yeah, that was a pretty cool opening. How the killer stabbed Allison, I think was her name. He stabs her in the back, and then she tries to crawl through the garage door, but then the garage door like falls on her back, and then she gets stabbed. So yeah, pretty cool opening. And it wasn't rushed like the Scream 3's opening. It actually took its time with it and tried to be funny with it too, which is what I liked about it. Anything else I should say? Any other kills in this movie that I enjoyed? I also really enjoyed the kills involving the two cops of the movie that were supposed to be guarding Jill, but they died, and then one of them got stabbed in the forehead, which I thought looked pretty disturbing, and the fact that all the blood kept coming out of his head, that must have been super painful. Anything else? And I thought this death scene was more on the lines funny than scary when Jill's mom dies by getting stabbed through like the hole on the bottom of the door, you know, like the mail hole. So yeah, like she gets stabbed there. But I thought that was more funny because the face expression she made. So yeah. Anything else I should say? Any other kills in this movie? Yeah, there weren't really much kills in this movie. Like this movie had like one of the lesser kill counts of the franchise. Any other kills that I enjoyed in this movie? This wasn't a kill, but I really enjoyed the Stabathon scene. That was a cool scene, and with like the high school kids reacting to Stab, and then Gail getting like attacked by the killer. She doesn't die, but she just gets badly injured from him. So yeah, that was a cool scene, and like the fact that like the killer kept blocking her cameras was pretty scary. Any other kills that I enjoyed in this movie? Yeah, there's more kills towards the end, but I'll get to those once I talk about the ending. Should I start talking about the ending right now? Cause yeah, I don't think much happens in this movie besides just from like the kids trying to stay safe. Let's get on to the ending now, cause the ending I thought was the best part of the movie. Well, besides from Olivia's death, but I thought this was a pretty cool ending in Kirby's house where They were just trying to stay safe from the Stabathon. And then we have this really hilarious death where Charlie's friend dies, where he's hosting a show and the killer keeps stabbing him. But before he dies, he's like, "No, no, you can't. There's rules. I'm gay. I'm gay." Because Charlie said to survive a horror movie, you have to be gay. That was very funny, and he was like, "I mean, if it helps," and then he gets stabbed. Yeah, very funny scene. Any other deaths in this movie that I enjoyed? Oh yeah, I thought that scene where Sydney was being chased by the killer in her own house, in Jill's house. I thought that scene was pretty suspenseful. Any other scenes I should talk about? Oh wait, one more kill. I totally forgot it. I totally missed out. I really enjoyed the death of Sydney's intern. I forgot her name, but she gets stabbed by the killer in the parking garage. Very suspenseful scene too, like in a dark parking garage where no one's around. Very suspenseful. She gets stabbed and then gets thrown out of the parking garage and lands on the reporter van. So yeah, pretty cool death. Any other deaths in this movie I should talk about? Anything else I should say? Okay, so with the ending of the movie, we start off with Charlie. Like he finds his best friend's body, and his hands are filled with blood, but like they're not opening the door for him because they think he's the killer. Oh yeah, and I thought this scene was really cute, how Olivia and Charlie were about to kiss each other and they had like this cute little like talk with each other. Like that was a cute scene, and then they got interrupted by fucking Trevor. So yeah, and what was sad was they didn't even get to kiss in the movie. Any other kills I enjoyed? And I thought this was a pretty cool twist, how Charlie was the second killer of the movie and he kills Kirby after Kirby tries so hard to save his life, and like he stabs her, and then he's like, 4 years of classes together and now you finally notice me, you bitch, it's too late. Take your time. It doesn't happen as fast as in the movie. So yeah, I thought that was a very dark scene, but in some weird way I can kind of get what Charlie is going with that scene. Um, Anything else I should say about that? So yeah, I thought Charlie being the killer was pretty creative actually, but I mean, I kind of saw that coming when I first saw this movie when I was 6 years old, because I noticed that guy definitely does look like a fucking killer. So yeah, anything else I should say? And I thought that whole scene in the house was very suspenseful, like that whole ending had a lot of suspense in it. And what else? And I thought this was a huge surprise how Jill was the killer, and I was not expecting that the first time, how she stabs Sydney and then she takes off the mask and she's the killer. So yeah, pretty cool. And she says her motivation, which I really liked her motivation a lot in this movie. I really dug that motivation, how she's killing to be famous. Like she's trying to pretend that she's the victim of this and she's pulling the killer on Trevor and Charlie. And so she wants to be famous because she's been hearing is Sydney this and Sydney that and a lot of Sydney, and she was been so jealous of Sydney for being famous, and she's not even the most popular kid at school, so she wants to be famous. So yeah, I really enjoyed that motivation a lot. Better than Scream 5's motivation, I would say. What else was I gonna say? What else was I gonna say about Jill? So yeah, and when Jill was presenting herself as the killer, like she was super crazy. Like she seemed really crazy, and then she even stabbed. At first she kissed Charlie, and then she stabbed him in the heart, which was pretty dark. And he wasn't even expecting that. He was like, "The heart? That's not the way we rehearsed it." And she's like, "You're the fucking killer. Like I'm pinning it on you." And that was pretty dark actually. And that was pretty dark when Jill like shot Trevor in the balls, which that looked pretty painful. That was very dark. And then she shot him in the head, which I definitely thought Trevor definitely deserved that. And then Jill stabs Sydney, and at first you think she's dead. And I thought this scene was really dark, where Jill beats herself up, where she stabs herself. She throws herself on the table. She keeps pulling off her hair to make it seem like she's a victim. That scene was super dark in my opinion. So yeah, great scene. And I really enjoyed the whole hospital climax of the movie. The ending was gonna be at the house, but there was another ending in the hospital. So I thought that was cool. But I definitely thought I thought this would have been interesting if the movie ended with Jill winning and Sydney dying. That actually would have been interesting, seeing the killer win for the very first time. But they don't do that, and they give us a happy ending. But the ending we got was still cool, but I thought the other ending could have been interesting though. But I really enjoyed the scene in the hospital where we find out that Sydney is still alive and Jill still really wants to kill her, and she's trying to kill her at the hospital, and they have like a very violent fight where Sydney pokes Jill's eyes, which looked pretty painful. What else? And then even Jill beats the shit out of Dewey with like the toilet, the metal toilet thing or whatever. And then she even shoots Deputy Judy when she was trying to help, but obviously she doesn't die. She has a bulletproof vest. Um, Anything else I should say? And oh, but yeah, and I also like that scene how Deputy Judy even saved Gail too from being shot, cause she still cares for Gail even though she was being such an asshole to her. So yeah, that definitely showed that Deputy Judy had a huge heart. Um, Anything else I should say about this movie? And I thought Jill kind of like was dumb for saying that she knew where Gail got stabbed. So yeah. Anything else? But I did enjoy Jill's death in the movie where Sydney like electrocutes her with like the little like square things, like the little square things that clear in the hospital, where she does that to Jill in her head instead, which was pretty dark, and she does it on the highest settings too. And then like Jill was gonna come back to life, but then she shoots her in the head, which every fucking killer in this movie dies from being shot. Yeah. Um, Anything else I should say about about this movie? So yeah, cool ending. Yeah, solid movie. To rate this movie, I'm gonna give it a B plus. I think that should be fair. Bye, and see you all in the next review.